Welcome, BTG Moto viewers, to another episode with a Triumph in it, because today I'm giving back the Speed 400 and randomly, as if by chance, as if by the will of the gods themselves, the Daytona 660 demo has just arrived and the sales manager, Kevin, has run it in. He says it's ready to go. So I am going to be the first guy to ride the demo Daytona 660. So, yeah, just back from Corsica, heck of a trip, absolutely knackered. I didn't expect it, which is why I'm a little bit scruffy, got a banging headache, but it's all about to go away because I'm going to get to take this Daytona out. I've only got like 2 hours before the shop shuts, so I'm going to make the most of it now. So in this video, I'm going to ride the Daytona 660 for the very first time. I'll give you my first impressions. And this is a bike that I am looking to buy, but if I want to buy it, I have to use the VFR 800 as my deposit on the finance. This is a big thing because I kind of like my VFR 800, although if you did watch the GP track video, it kind of sucked on the GP track, even though it's a great road bike. But let's find out, because on paper, the Daytona 660 is a very similar power to weight ratio as the VFR, has a torquey triple motor, so it's got that flat torque curve that makes good sense for a sports tourer. So is this the budget sports tourer for me? Is this a bike that can do everything I want? There's only one way to find out, and that's to ride it. So enough talking, let's ride. So let's start with a walk around. The Daytona 660, despite what this looks like, because this is plastic, that's plastic, is actually a steel frame motorcycle, much the same as the Tiger 660 and of course the Trident 660. It's essentially the same bike. Sorry, the pollen is killing me. Look at this pollen. This is all pollen, and you can clean the bike, and 5 minutes after you clean it, it will look like this today, because today is the day of tree jizz, and all the trees release everything into the air. Disgusting tree orgy today. Anyway, new cams, new intakes, new valves, totally different system on this. So the other bikes actually have a single throttle body, and that feeds all 3 cylinders. This has got individual throttle bodies, like a real sports bike. Okay, so clutch in, hit the button. 345 kilometers on the clock, but I'm assured that this being the press bike, it is running and I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Good. Before we pull away, let's just say a couple of things. It feels very narrow, just like the Trident and the VFR, which is nice. Foot pegs feel nice. Let's release the cable clutch and head out onto the road. I don't think this has a quick shifter. No, it does not have a quick shifter. You can option a quick shifter on this, if you so desire. It does have a lot of play in the gear shifter, which is just like the Trident 660. And it doesn't feel like it's lost any torque compared to the Trident 660, because one of the nice things about the Trident 660 motor is the torque. You can't do a stoppie with ABS, Dale. Just let's go with the brake for you. The engine sounds really nice. Yeah, okay. That does sound really nice. We need to get this out to the Autobahn without hitting that rain cloud that's up ahead. I didn't have time to fit any navigation to this, and I figured because I've only got like 90 minutes to ride it, that I wasn't going to use navigation anyway, and I'm regretting that. It feels really nice actually. The riding position is just the right side of sporty. It feels
very much like a sports tourer. There's a lot of things I don't like immediately. One of the things I don't like is I don't like this top yoke. I've already mentioned the fact that the suspension is non-adjustable, so I can't even set the sag, which is just infuriating for a €10,000 bike. Every tree, every flower is just dumping its DNA into the air right now, making my eyes water. This is 6th gear. We're going to follow the detour to the Autobahn, so we're following the Umlight on number 17. Okay, out of the 70. Let's give it a bit of jizz, bit of jazz. Let's give it some beans. Do you know what's really nice is it's got very low gearing. So if I leave it in 4, and let's just accelerate from 70 to 100 here. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Just as I was shutting off the throttle, I felt it pick up and surge. Oh, wow. I like the engine a lot. I really do. Let's talk momentarily about something that I don't like, that I felt in the first few minutes. The gear shift is so spongy. Such a spongy gear shift. It feels like something's bending or flexing as I change gear. I think it's just an inordinately large rod. Nobody likes a large rod. It's too big. And also, look at that, a cast steel. A cast steel gear shifter. That's nasty. Don't like that either. I like the engine. It's very potent. It's a nice throttle action. Very light throttle, loads of torque. Love it. They have successfully transformed the little 660 motor into something that's fun and not frustrating like I found the Trident 660 personally. And don't get me wrong, I like slow bikes. It's not the fact that it was slow that frustrated me. I found the engine frustrating because it didn't want to rev, and it felt like I was riding the motorcycle equivalent of a 3-cylinder Yaris. I'm going to hit a nice bump here, feel this. Ooh. It's pretty firm suspension, to be honest. I still think it's utterly unforgivable that there's no adjustment at all on the forks of a premium. What am I saying here? I'm saying that if you pay €10,000 for a bike with a Triumph badge on it, you do expect some level of adjustability on the suspension. Even just let me do the sag, for crying out loud. I have got preload adjuster on the rear shock, which I guess I'll have to be satisfied with. The forks themselves are not bad forks. I mean, the Showa big pistons are now ubiquitous across all, you know, good sports bikes. You'll see them in that middle bracket of cost. Let's try some buttons. We've got a water temperature gauge, that's nice. Some data, trips. Oh, we got a rev counter. Oh, an actual rev counter. You don't get that on the Trident 660, do you? What else? Gear shifter, gear indicator rather. Go. And there we go, back to the start again. Okay. We'll leave it on the gear indicator. I mean, if you want to be very objective about how fast this bike is, it's so much faster than the speed limit that you don't need to worry about it. It could do with a little double bubble screen on it, I think. Oh, now that's a very interesting trait. So, do you remember earlier when I said as I rolled off it started to accelerate more? That is very interesting. I'd like to put this bike on a dyno. Okay, so what's happening is, at 100% throttle position, the bike is pulling okay, and as you roll back to 95% throttle position, the bike accelerates harder. Now that would suggest that it's getting too much air and the bike is running lean, and that as you reduce the amount of air the engine is sucking on, it actually makes more power. So that on its own suggests to me that this bike is heavily restricted and that it could do a lot more power than what it's currently doing now. Okay, let's bob up a junction on the old Autobahn, shall we? Finally we can actually open the taps on this and see what it's made of. Oh, look at the traffic. We can open the taps a little bit more than on the public road, than on the Landstrasse, sorry. We can open the taps a little bit more than the Landstrasse for sure. Okay. Oh, it's busy, eh? Okay, third gear. We're going to exit an 80k limit. Fourth gear. Okay. That sign is the magic sign. It means de-restricted. Yeah, to be honest, that just reinforces what I'd already seen in the spec sheets, which is that this bike has a more than adequate amount of thrust available in each gear. The amount of torque delivered to the rear wheel in every gear is pretty good, but it's not got the top end power of the 765, and therefore it's not going to have the top speed either. And actually what Triumph have done is very clever, because it's not clever, it's just cunning. They've geared it for 228 kilometers per hour in top gear, and that means in every gear now, even in 6 gear locks, about 70 miles an hour. I just cracked it open and it was heading for 100 miles an hour before I backed it off. So is it a slow bike? Not at all. Is it a fast bike? Not really, no. Is it an easy to handle, lightweight, fun bike? Yes, absolutely. Just move that little pesky mirror back out again. That just needs tightening up on that one there. 100% you can fix that mirror just by adding like 2 Newton meters of torque to that bolt. So don't anybody get the knickers in the twist about the wing mirror folding in. Alright. Now we've come a little distance up the road. Let's see about heading back. Okay, so the brakes feel really nice. and they complement the forks superbly. And the bike feels lovely and torquey. I mean, that is a lovely smooth motor. What's this? An M button. Rain, road, sport. That's it. Rain, road, sport. Oh man, when kids wave at motorbikes in Germany, I'm always like, yay! Wow, the brakes are really good. Emergency stop. Really nice. Like I said, the forks. Just open the visor for a moment. The forks are really nice quality. They feel pretty good. It does look a little bit cheap from up here though. It kind of looks like Yamaha R3. Got a very narrow headstock. Like the actual bearing of the headstock is a very small one compared to the bikes I'm used to. There's certainly no Ducati. Look at that. What's that, like 20 something millimeters? The diameter of the head bearing. Oh my god, I've got to shut this visor. The amount of pollen blowing around in the air today is literally blowing into my eyeballs and making my eyes scratch and itchy and hot and nasty. Alright, so gotta be careful here because it's school bus time, so it's not worth overtaking the school bus. Well, you cannot complain about this engine not having any top end because this engine is absolutely transformed over the Trident 660 and Tiger 660. It's a great motor. That when you roll off and it gets faster. It gets faster at 95% throttle, and I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, full, let go, off she goes. It's very weird. Like I say, drilling into this on a dyno and getting into the mat, I think you're going to discover a lot about this bike. Alright. We are back at Mellow. Sorry, the battery ran out, so just popped a new battery in. Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot on that ride, didn't we? It's a lovely bike. It's very small, but it's still comfortable. Feels like a big bike. Good trick. Probably learned off Speed 400. Ha ha ha. But seriously, great feeling bike, great handling, lovely neutral responses in every way. Weird fueling. Feels like it should make a lot more power than it does, and massively overgeared. Look at this rear sprocket. I believe that's a 52 tooth rear sprocket. That's a lot of teeth. Looks like a stunt bike. No wonder it tops out at 228 on the clock. And also the rear shock. Come on, boys. Is that it? It doesn't look much. No damping adjustment. Gear selector, same problem as the Trident 660. One thing I didn't like is there's so much flex in this. Look, it goes down to there. That's how much play there is. Because it's just a big old piece of metal. It could be better, for sure. The gearbox itself is nice, but this shifter arrangement is nasty. And this, look at this. Dude. This is a 10 grand sports bike. It could do a lot of things better. It could certainly do a lot of things worse. It's got beautiful engine response, top end, feels lovely, handles great. But it's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on, a lot of clever design. all this plastic here is hiding the fact that really underneath it's a really old school steel frame Triumph. It's a cool thing though. It's a cool thing. It's not a Daytona 765, and it's never supposed to be. Don't forget that. If you want a Daytona 765, you got to ask Triumph for a Daytona 765, because this is never going to be it. But it is a really cool bike. Should we talk Turkey? I mean, let's say I sold my VFR, then that gives me a £3,000 deposit. So let's go talk to Kevin, see what a £3,000 deposit means in terms of finance, and see what a buying situation looks like in Germany.